out germs and bacteria. Clean and moisturize your hands with 4 refreshing and rejuvenating fragrances. Get super clean with Sterling Super Soap.
Finger licking good, yeah, yeah. Got we in the mood for sharing. Come and join the party at KFC. Get a sing a sandwich, I take a bite. It's the best flavor, best vibes. Get a bucket with your friends, pass it to the left, and have the best time of your life. Finger licking good, yeah, yeah. Got we in the mood for sharing. Come and join the party at KFC, at KFC.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Attention seafood suppliers, Dave's, the largest purchaser of fresh fish from Guyana, is interested in buying from you. Dave's deeply cares about bolstering the local economy and is looking to begin business with an eager seller of fresh fish and agro products. Dave's needs a constant supply of snapper, butterfish, bangameri, bundari crab, sheriga crab, white-belly shrimp, bon carilo, edo, saijambaji, and more. Contact Dave's West Indian Imports at 21 Middle Street, Viceless, East Coast, Demerara. Telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. Dave's will purchase.
Now Milko has done it again. We've listened to you and now available nationwide. Another convenient sized packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. It's here. The 5 kg or 11 pounds new packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. Now available at your nearest supermarket.
Now Milko, National Milling Company of Guyana.
Good evening. This is Sean Devers. Welcome you to another program of the Sean Devers Sports Watch. It's Tuesday, May 19th. We're still in the year 2026. On this program, we talk about cricket with the West Indies CWI pathway batting coach Felix Walker, Basil Butcher, and Vernon Springer. Basil will join us around 8 o'clock, and the batting coach Felix Walker will join us like around 7:45. I invited, he was on the program until tonight when he called to say that he's suffering a bout of illness. That's Tony Gray from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. I wanted him on the program because it's a gigantic fight back. Tomorrow, the last day of the final between Trinidad and Tobago Red Force and, of course, Guyana Harpy Eagles. Guyana Harpy Eagles looking for their 15th title, and Imlach would be leading them to their 3rd title, but they're on the back foot, and they're needing to get 278 runs so far. They could have been worse, because from 259 for 5, Pomal came on and picked up 2 quick wickets, and also De Silva was out for a low score for the second time. In fact, the first innings, he made a first ball duck. So that's a game in the balance. So we're going to talk to Vernon Springer. He's already online. Basil Butcher, he's going to be coming at 8 o'clock. and of course Felix Walker. This program comes to you with the compliments of Dave's West Indian Imports, Sterling Products Limited, Namalco, KFC, Builders Lumberyard, and Survival Supermarket. Good night, everybody. Well, let's tell you the details of the final. Trinidad and Tobago batted first, and they made 206 after recovering from 84 for 6. Jaden Searles, the fast bowler, got his highest first-class score. I think 38 was his previous highest. He scored 70 not out. Pierre, the left-arm spinner, he got 40. And, of course, the other fast bowler, Searles' partner, they reveled with the bat. They scored 98 runs for the last wicket, with Phillips getting 26. Niall Smith had 3 for 51, Kimo Paul 3 for 28, and Gudakesh Moti 2 for 45. Guyana, when they had their chance to bat, they made 247, behind by just 13 runs. And that was 13 important runs, because if this game goes to a draw, then the Trinidadians would win the match by virtue of getting first innings lead. So they scored 247 after being 93 for 5. Van Lang, who scored a debut 100 against the Academy, he got 50, and Kimo Paul was on got 49, Moti got 33, and so did Taden Ryan Chandrapal. Searles continued his impressive run this season, 4 for 56. Hines had 3 for 46, and Phillips continuing to take wickets. He started he left off in the preliminary rounds with 17 wickets, the second most to Moti's 24. So he's continuing to do well. Very potent Trinidad and Tobago fast bowling attack. Today ended with Trinidad and Tobago, the Red Force, 265 for 8 overnight, with Evan Lewis, who had a self-imposed sabbatical of over 9 years from red ball cricket. He's on 122 not out, his second first-class century in I think about 9 or 10 years. Amar Jangu, who was peppered with short balls, he ended on 48. Well, he got 48 before he was dismissed. And Jason Mohammed, in his very last match for the Red Force or Trinidad and Tobago in any type of cricket, he got 37. Well, Pomal took 2 wickets in 1 over as they slipped from 259 for 5 to their eventual overnight total of 265 for 8. Paul continuing his good work, bowled like a workhorse today, 3 for 41 from 25 overs, held up one end, and Shamar Joseph bowled with lots of pace. He got 2 for 86. So it's coming up to the time when this match will finish tomorrow. It's in the balance, and Guyana's really pulled themselves back. If they need to get maybe 300 runs or 320, they don't have anything to lose, because if the match draws, they're going to lose the title, and Trinidad and Tobago will become first-class champions of the West Indies for the first time since 2006, when Ganga captained them to victory. Of course, if Guyana wins, this will be their 4th consecutive title. So good night to you. Vernon, you there? Vernon?
Good night, Sean. It's Felix. I'm here.
Yeah, Felix.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Too best to be stressed. How do you look at this match? The Guyana, in the later stages, recovered wonderfully with those 2 wickets in 1 over, and so that brought back the match. But generally, the Trinidadians still in front.
Yeah, it's an interesting match. I think the pitch has made it very difficult for stroke play. So it's quite challenging when you have the 2 best team in the region vying for the championship. So it's a bowler-friendly wicket, but credit to the batters, the ones who got in. They've hung in there, and they've found a way to score on that pitch. But it's not the easiest pitch to play on, and definitely batting last on that track is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, so if they need like about 320, Ghana will obviously go for the runs, because if they play for a draw, it wouldn't make any sense. So it's going to be an exciting day. Either Ghana get bowled out or they get the runs. But I don't think there will be a draw tomorrow unless there is rain, and we're keeping our fingers crossed there's not. But we saw the lack of the top order batting in both innings, both teams. And excellent fast bowling from both sides. A long time we've not seen such quality fast bowlers from both sides. And of course, this might be the West Indies bowling attack, the 4-prong fast bowling attack for the series against Sri Lanka, the test series in Antigua. You've got Searles and Phillips for Trinidad, Red Force, and then you've got Shamar Joseph Shamar Joseph and who? Well,
Chemo bowled well, but
yeah, Chemo bowled well.
You would have Alzari probably coming into that.
Yeah, Alzari Joseph, and the 2 Josephs and Phillips and Searles. That would be my 4-prong attack. So how do you think tomorrow will go? What Guyana has to do and what Trinidad has to do?
Well, first of all, I have to give kudos to the format, because we've come to the last game where the championship is on the line, and going into the last day, all 4 results are possible.
Yeah.
All 3 results are possible. So this is what we want in regional cricket. I know there was a lot of negativity attached to, or not negativity, but concerns as to how this format would play out. But I think going into the last round of championship games as a finals, I think it's put more impetus riding on the game, because obviously Trinidad were nowhere near Guyana on the points table, but yet still they have a chance to win the championship. So I think it's good for cricket in the region. And
well, the final to my mind is good, but not the format of 3 bilateral matches. We need more matches to be better.
Yeah, that probably can be ironed out. But the point I'm trying to make is that we've now got to a stage now where
the final,
the last game, it's the last game, and rather than playing a team that don't have any chance of winning at your last game and you've won it, everything is riding on it. And like you said, you have 3 of the potential starters for West Indies in the test match involved in this game. So it's definitely a good litmus test for the batters, technically, and is what you want going into the final day as a player, as a coach, where everything is still riding on it. You don't want a one-sided affair.
The main disappointment was the lack of fans, because tomorrow is another working day. And the West Indies Cricket Board could have started these matches on Thursday, even Friday. So you get the weekend, and then you get the Monday being the last day. But still, it's better than nothing. And most of these formats are construed by the cost factor. So we got to take that into account.
Also, more can always be done, but I think logistically with some of these grounds, it's probably a challenge for people to just pop in and watch a couple of hours and then like if it's in the city, like ARG,
Mm-hmm.
it probably would have had more spectators. But with that being said, back to the question you asked, what does Trinidad need to do?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we can address that.
Yeah.
I think they just need to bat as long as possible because they're already ahead of the game. They've secured first innings points. So from an analytical point of view, they just need to bat time. Take as much time out of the game as possible. So the Harpies will be under more pressure to get the runs if they're going to go for it in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, plus they got to
However,
bowl out the Trinidadians the last 2 wickets, and one of the batters there is Evan Lewis on 122.
yeah, but as a batter, once there's a break and there's a disruption of your rhythm, he has to start again in the morning. So that's going to be a challenge for him. He's nursing a couple of niggles also that might stiffen up overnight. So that could be a factor. But I particularly like the way that the Harpy Eagles ended the day with a bit of momentum. And that would give them confidence going into tomorrow. What they need to do, I think tomorrow they need to be patient and just wrap up, be clinical and wrap up the tail tomorrow early. They don't want to be bowling more than an hour tomorrow, ideally, so that the batters can give themselves a good 2.5 sessions to get whatever score is posted. It won't be straightforward because, like I said, the pitch is challenging, and Kaieteur as a spinner is a very good. Well, he's a test match bowler. He's a good bowler, and Jid Gooley in the first innings got the ball to bounce excessively. So it will be a challenge for our batters. However, I'm confident that the guys have the skill and the technical ability to get through whatever is thrown at them. It's just whether or not they're mentally in the right space. And if you can't be mentally right in the finals, then you shouldn't be there. But I'm confident that the guys are gonna come out with the right side of the result.
We've seen the lower order batters stage recoveries from in both sides, but I am concerned a little bit that Guyana lacks the killer instinct that teams like Clive Lloyd's team had. That partnership shouldn't have been 98 for the last wicket. Anyhow,
Yeah, you say that. You say that, right, Sean? But remember now, it's cricket and it's sports. Nobody goes out there to just roll over. And if you look at how the first innings unfolded, when Terence Hines came in, he actually gave the innings a bit of impetus because he was very, very
attacking.
proactive.
Yeah.
He was very proactive, and he backed himself. And also, if you looked at how the Harpy Eagles innings sort of progressed, the players that was brave enough
Yeah.
to just 100% committed to their shots, they flourished on that track.
But
So
yeah, go ahead.
sorry. No. So I was going to say it's going to be quite interesting to see the approach of the batters, but I think on a wicket like that, you have to take calculated risk because if you looked at how Tage batted in first innings as well, he was more proactive because the wicket has one ball in it, ever so often, whether it keeps a bit low or bounce a little excessively. So your approach when there's a scoring opportunity, you have to take full capitalize on it.
Yeah, hindsight is the best sight. But when you looked at the way that Searles got dropped towards the end of day one, and they came back the next day, and himself and Phillips added about 20-something runs, and that made the difference. If he'd been dismissed, well, we are not saying that Guyana would have made the same score. but it would have been 20 runs less, and probably if Guyana had made the same score, they would have been in Trinidad's position. Vernon Springer, are you there? Vernon?
I can see him on. I could see his stuff is signed in, but he's not on the screen.
All right, let's continue with you, Felix. So, how do you think Guyana, as you said, they will have to bat positively, but if they bat recklessly, they can be bowled out for 100. What is your balance with them batting positively to get maybe 300 runs?
Yeah, there's positive and there's reckless, right? Batting positively doesn't mean you have to go after everything. Positive batsmanship is playing with intent, where you could just be positive and just rotate the strike really well. You have a couple of singles in the over, maybe a 2, the odd boundary. You know, you're just looking busy at the crease. I know we have some batters in good form. You've got Nandu coming off a double 100. You've got Tage has got 100. He looked really good in the first innings. Imlak looking good order. He just haven't had a score. Kevlon, you know, he's still scratching a little bit, but I'm backing him as all good players. You know, that a good innings is around the corner. You've got Savory, who also was showing signs of, you know, getting a score. So the batters are in decent nick. You have Kemo Paul, which I think this year has been a revelation.
Yeah.
He's done the full season and he's bowled with great skill and control. And also he's batted with a lot of maturity. With young Van Lang, it's good to see that he had the maturity to get through difficult periods and cash in when the opportunity presents itself. So you then have Moti at the bottom and Pramal. So you know, Shamar Joseph. So
even Smith showed good batting ability in a couple of games previous to this one.
So we do have depth within the side. It's just a matter of
putting it together.
Yeah, and you say how can they bat? How can you ensure that they bat positively without being reckless? These guys are professional cricketers. A number of them within the 11 have played international cricket. They would have a tempo to their innings. So I can't really see them going all guns blazing from ball one. You know, I'm confident they'll be fine.
So tomorrow, barring no rain, well, they got 4 possible results. So washout is in 1, and that adds to the draw and win for each team. But I'm hoping, most Caribbean people are hoping, even those for and against, that there's no rain, because this puts Guyana in a fighting position to come back and win. 15 minutes before the close today, I would have put all my money on Trinidad Red Force with 5 wickets down. But those 2 wickets were crucial to Guyana. And of course, now they've got to finish off the job. But that's what I'm worried about. Do you think they have the killer's instinct to polish off the tail?
Well, absolutely. You're looking at a side who has won 3 in a row. We have to give them credit.
Yeah, but most of the times the tail enders, and this goes way back into tournaments previously, the tail enders always put up a fight. I don't know what the bowlers are. They get complacent, or they get tired, or just the tail enders bat well.
You remember now with batsmen or guys who have more batting ability, you can actually plan how to get them out. With guys who are going to do some unorthodox things at the crease, you're almost banking on them to make the mistake. So So it's a challenge. We just have to be innovative with our field placements and sort of hedge our bets a little bit. Because you look at Jaden Seals in the first innings, he looked really solid, and he came in this evening, and he was out within a couple of balls.
Yeah.
So remember, tailenders, they don't have the patience and trust their technique like a batsman
But
would.
Seal showed
So
good technique, the same as Moti. And we don't have really tailenders now. We have lower order batsmen. Most of the
yeah, but
batsmen can bat.
remember the pressure of the game was different. The pressure of the game was different. It was the first innings. They had the first use of the wicket, so everything was in their favor. Whereas in the second innings, they probably have a target they're looking to get to. So his mindset going into that second innings might have been totally different. He might have gone in to just bat with Evan Lewis, who's the established batsman. So that's what I'm saying. For lower order batsmen, they don't have a complete way in which they approach their innings. It's almost like one way or no way. So he did show a lot of good batting ability, but the circumstances were very, very different than in the second innings.
All right, we see Vernon.
Good evening, Vernon.
Yeah, good
Hi,
evening,
good evening.
Vernon. Vernon, you saw the match today. You were in Antigua. I missed you on the commentary, missed your voice. But when you look at the outcome today, I was telling Felix, 15 minutes before the close, I would have betted on Trinidad and Tobago winning easily. But now Guyana, those 2 wickets from Pomales pushed Guyana back into the contest, even though Trinidad's still on top. They're having the ascendancy. But tomorrow, the first half hour or hour is going to be deciding the match. If Trinidad continues to bat like they did in the first innings, well, there's no Seals, but the lower order, well, there's still Lewis on 122. If he can come and play some 20-20 shots, which he's very good at, and take the score to like 350, then that would shut Guyana out. But it's a battle going into tomorrow. As Felix said, all 3 results on the cards.
Well, Sean, thanks again for the opportunity. And anything over 280, Sean, batting last on the Survivor Stadium is going to be very tricky to get. Based on what we're seeing so far from the seamers. So the Guyana seamers to date have bowled 102.4 overs, 23 maidens, 327 runs, 12 wickets. The Trinidad and Tobago seam attack have bowled 60 overs, 3 maidens, 227 runs, 10 wickets. So we have seen that at least 22 wickets have fallen to pace so far. I will say to you that I thought that Kimo Paul was overbowled today. In the context. 25 overs, 8 maidens, 47 runs, 3 wickets. And if you look at the overs that Guyana seamers have bowled in the game so far, 28 overs, 4 maidens, 99 runs, 3 wickets, that's Niall Smith. Kimo Paul, 42.4 overs, 13 maidens, 75 runs, 6 wickets. And Shamar Joseph, 31 overs, 4 maidens, 141 runs, 3 wickets. Now here's my thought process, Felix. I thought today that Guyana has a strategy which they use over the years, especially when Leon Johnson was captain and being in the Leeward Islands dressing room. They would always attack. They would always have a spinner from one end. And even though, and they conservatively would have their pace today. Today, Moti and Pomar were out of the attack just too long. And when you look at the context, I thought that the Guyana seamers, especially Shamar Joseph, just didn't bowl enough sharp balls, especially to Evan Lewis. And by the time when Shamar Joseph woke up and bowled a couple of sharp balls, you saw a whole different ploy. The other thing is, why was the short leg not employed consistently enough? So being somebody in the air, in one of those air, because it's not like Trinidad was scoring, you know. When they came back out, they took a long time, right? But in a context of how Guyana normally play, you could have had your rotation of your seamers from one end and have your champion spinners, which is Moti, who's the leading wicket taker, rotating between him and Permal, who have over 600 wickets.
Well, Moti didn't have one of his better days. bowling.
Yeah, but the reason, Sean, the
Again,
reason for the hold on, Sean. He didn't have one of his better days because there was no protection. So it looked because they were getting boundaries off of him. Because he's when I said trying different things, he's got different deliveries in his army right now. But regardless of however you look at it, he's a test bowler. So that is going to happen. Somewhere along the line, one is going to drop in the right area, and all of a sudden the whole game changed. What we did was just give up the game today, more or less. Trinidad Guyana just gave up the game in that context today, just by
I
playing
think
with the Trinidad Arms.
Well,
I
I
think
too
Vernon,
was
what's
surprised that the spinners didn't bowl. But when you look at Trinidad had about 5 left-handers, and that might be a reason they bowled the ball into the batters. And with
yeah,
Evan
but
Lewis
Sean,
there, he hits the ball with the turn.
Sean, sorry. Can I just interject there? I
Yeah.
know you actually referring to this matchup kind of
No, no,
cricket. This is
I
first
don't
class
prescribe
cricket,
to matchups.
right? So this first class cricket, the general state of play, your best bowlers bowl at your best batsman, irregardless of if they are right or left-handed.
Yeah, I agree with that,
I'm in agreement.
100%.
I'm in agreement with Vernon on some of the tactics. It was very off. But however, I think that might have been clouded by what the wicket was offering, because the wicket seemed to offer a bit more to the seamers. It probably was a deciding factor, where the ball kept going past the edge. There was one that would bounce a little bit excessively. So I think they probably felt that was their best option of getting a wicket, because in the first innings, that's what worked. Now, tactically, going back to your point, Vernon, there is a model, and there's a style of play that's been successful over a long period of time that they've kind of gone away from in this game. Not saying that is a wrong thing, but I think maybe they stuck with that new thing for too long, where Kemo Paul had great control at one end, and then they could have see which spinners could just come into it at the other end. Now, like Sean said, it's hindsight, but I think on a pitch like this, there is so much for the spinners that you get sort of like clouded by the ball going past the outside edge with the seamers. But I think the spinners is really, really your trump card on a wicket like this, especially third and fourth day. The spinners are going to come into their own, especially if you have catches around the bat. You got 3 men around the bat. You got your slip, your short leg, your silly point. The batsmen have to be precise. Anything jumps, he's in trouble. And we saw that with how Kaieteur got out this evening. It just spat at him, good catch at short leg. So he then had Jaden Seals playing for spin, beat him on the outside edge, and he got bowled. So I think it's just the tactics was slightly off. But to the credit, the seamers did plug the way.
Yeah.
Emo did put in a spell today. He put in a shift. And he's been bowling really well. And I just think that you have to stick with the guy who's got the most regional wickets. You got to throw him the ball in your biggest game.
Were you surprised, both of you, that Luke Knott, the off spinner, didn't play against a team that had like about 5 left-handers, and he was omitted after doing so well in the last match? He got 9 wickets and he scored 71.
Sean, sorry, Felix. Go ahead, Felix.
No. I will say this. I don't think Luke Knott has had a bad game for Guyana. Every game he comes in, he puts in a performance. On his debut, he got 9 wickets. Last week, he got 6 wickets and 70 odd not out in the second innings. In the first innings, the only innings they batted. I think it was a bit harsh, given the fact that the Sevivian pitch would offer something to the spinners. Also with the fact that Trinidad has a number of left-handers. So I felt it was a bit harsh. Now I can appreciate that a guy on debut gets 100. He looked the part, you know, he's the future going forward, 19-year-old. Um, put him in. Now, my thinking, I mean, don't forget, Jonathan is one of the guys that I work with, so I'm happy for him. But from a coaching and from a selection perspective, um, I like the fact that there's a bit of continuity with a young guy coming in and hitting his straps. However, it's the biggest game of the season, and you have an extra bowling option in Richie because Jonathan hasn't featured with the ball, so we're down one bowler potentially. So if to answer your question, yes, I was surprised to see Richie being left out, but it just puts the Harpy Eagles cricket in a good space that a guy can come in and perform like he has, and you've left him out.
But let me ask you something, Felix. In the context of the game, is Van Land good enough to come in? Would you consider Van Land to be a batting all-rounder or a bowling all-rounder?
A batting all round.
Okay, right.
He's
Hold
a
on,
batting
hold on,
all-rounder.
hold on. Okay, all right, Felix. So then, just as you rightly said, Felix, we're playing a big game, we're playing a final. We saw what happened in one of the playoff games where Luke Knott didn't bowl in the first innings, but he came on in the second innings almost like a surprise, like an impact player. And then everybody said, oh my gosh, wow, I didn't know he was that good, right? He might have been a handful on this pitch here at the Survivor Stadium if he had played in this game against these left-handers. We're just only talking hindsight.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Talking, right? And so I support you. It'd be interesting to hear what Basil said, but I'm saying that yes, the young man scored 100, but you got to look at the context of the game and what you're coming up against to be able to make sure how do you balance your attack in terms of your off spinner and your leg spinner. Because if you're playing Van Land and he's not going to bowl, as you rightly said, Felix, then you're almost a bowler down.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I would add to that is the game's not finished, and let's say by the end of play tomorrow, Van Land gets 100 or he's 80 not out to win the game, we would say, it's a stroke of genius that they've selected him. So there is always that.
Well, I would be tempted
from a
to.
statistical perspective, I would have preferred to have an extra spinner as an option, because I don't think Trinidad batters play spin very well.
Well, I would have be tempted to give Anderson a rest, but who knows? Tomorrow he might make 100 and give Guyana the victory.
He's got credit. He's got credit in the bank, Sean. So
Sean, I agree with you. I was dropping Anderson, keeping Luke Knott in the team. Anderson has been horrendous this entire season. He deserved to go to the bench. And having look, the captain had to go up to bat to 3 because how woeful he has been, a reliable person. So as you correctly said, with Trinidad also, today, modern cricket, you got all these left-handers, the spinner comes into play even more, and you saw the footholds in front of the left-handers thing there that Pormal exploited today to get those wickets. That would have been even more perfect for the off-spinner. Because myself and as Sean knows, Lyndon Fraser, was the first one who said, Butch, I drop in Anderson. And then when I thought about it, the whole concept, I agreed with him that I would have kept Luke Knott in the team and have that other option. And I think today, the spinners might have, the captain, because he's probably still thinking the modern way, would have brought on the spinners a little bit earlier. Because I think if I really feel this in my heart that had our spinners come on a little bit earlier, I think we would have bowled out Trinidad before the close of play today, because as soon as Pormal in particular, because we know the other guy, Moti, is more attacking. He's looking for wickets. So he bowled a lot of balls that were short, fast, and stuff like that, and he went for runs. Whereas Pormal was putting pressure on them, and they had to be more defensive. And every time he hit that spot in front of the left-handers area, he was causing a lot of trouble. And nicely took care of Mr. Seals, Mr. Mouthman, or we say in Guyana, Gaffman, to send him back for a nice duck.
All right, let's take a break for commercial sake, and then we come back.
Ethyl alcohol, Mighty Foam hand sanitizer eliminates 99.99% of all germs and even moisturizes in the process, leaving your skin clean and hydrated. Mighty Foam hand sanitizer. How do you stay clean?
Igloo sugar-free ice cream. Sugar-free ice cream.
Impossible that you're singing about ice cream without added sugar right now. I mean, how's that going to taste?
It's the best, most delicious I've ever tasted. The premium French vanilla flavor is so rich and velvety. Plus, my gym instructor approves. It's great for my weight loss.
So it's really delicious? Like you aren't kidding me? The children! No added sugar could be healthier for them. And Grandpa Glenn, with his diabetic condition. You mean he could finally enjoy desserts after all these years? I have to go. I have to get this.
Grab Igloo's sugar-free ice cream before she does.
Craving a meal that's big on flavor but doesn't break the bank? KFC has got you covered with the KFC 3-piece meal deal. Get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, mac and cheese, a biscuit, and a drink. All for just $2,200. It's the perfect deal, available every day. Enjoy your 3-piece meal deal at KFC today. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Attention seafood suppliers. Dave's, the largest purchaser of fresh fish from Guyana, is interested in buying from you. Dave's deeply cares about bolstering the local economy and is looking to begin business with an eager seller of fresh fish and agro products. Dave's needs a constant supply of snapper, butterfish, bangameri, bundari crab, sheriga crab, white-belly shrimp, bon carilo, edo, saijambaji, and more. Contact Dave's West Indian Imports at 21 Middle Street, Vicelas, East Coast, Demerara. Telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. Dave's will purchase.
Now Milko has done it again. Surprise your family today with a nice vanilla flavored cake made with Maid Marian cake flour. It's perfect for the birthday, anniversary, special occasion, or just celebrating the joy of having your family together. So get a pack or 2 of Maid Marian cake flour to make that moist, fluffy, vanilla flavored sponge cake, donut shaped cakes, Swiss rolls, and other delicious baked goods. Bring on the smiles with Maid Marian cake flour. Made and packaged not by hand by Nomilco, the National Milling Company of Guyana.
National Milling Company of Guyana.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, Qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Yeah, well, good evening and welcome back to the Sean Devers Sports Watch. Just about 12 minutes getting past the hour of 8 o'clock on a wet and windy night here in Georgetown, Guyana. Basil and Vernon, I asked Phyllis this question: how should Guyana bat tomorrow?
Look, that game, that pitch, there's always something in there for the bowlers. Batters, I think the person that Guyana could look at and take a page from his book is on their team, Mr. Kemo Paul. Mm-hmm. The way Kemo Paul batted in the first innings if all the Guyanese batters could follow in that suit, and we get those wickets early, it can be a game, right? And Kimo Paul, and I will say this about Kimo Paul, this entire season, he has been making our top order batters look bad, because every time he has come to the middle, the same bowling that they were struggling against, he would take apart the bowling attack. But unfortunately, at times we know Mr. Paul, sometimes his game awareness goes out and he's ultraly aggressive and plays some exorbitant shot and gives away his wicket. Because in my view, I think he threw away 2 centuries. He could have gotten at least 2 centuries this season, the way he was dominating the bowling. And I think he has given a template to our batters to how they can go about batting on that pitch. Because look, the Trinidadian bowlers, the 2-seamers, are more accurate and put more pressure on the batters than our seamers. I think Paul, for the most part, is our guy who put pressure on them every time he bowled. Joseph at spurts and Smith at spurts, but both Seals and Philip, they have been putting. They were there all about. So I think Paul is the guy to the template of how we batted. We gotta go. And Chandler Paul and those guys and Nandu, they gotta be positive in the defense, not to look to get bogged down. And the last part is the mental part, because we've heard a lot of banter going on in this game. Some I felt crossed the line. Well, one in particular instant crossed the line. But in my view, and this is when I played, guys banter you, I batting, I gotta make sure I get back at them with my bat, right? You actually raising a hornet's nest as a batter when you banter me, because it's gonna make me more determined, and I would like to see some of that from the Guyanese batters tomorrow.
Yeah, Kimo Paul now is a genuine all-rounder in my mind. But
yes.
When we talk about sledging, one person, they said, don't sledge. The Australians are the greatest sledgers, Brian Lara. When you sledge Brian Lara, he gets big scores. Vernon,
Exactly.
how do you think Guyana should approach tomorrow? Saying that they bowled out Trinidad in the first half hour.
If we look at the context of the game, Sean, we realize that most of the teams struggle to dismiss the number 11 batsman.
Mm-hmm.
If you check out most of the games, and you realize some real big major partnerships have been built.
Yeah, we were just discussing that before you joined us.
Yeah. So you'll see that.
We dismissed our nemesis, though. We already put him back, Mr. Seals. So
yes.
We don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, but you have Anderson.
You have Evan Lewis there.
Anderson Phillip can
Yeah.
come back. So
Yes,
too is
that's-
Joshua James.
Yes.
So you can't take anything for granted.
No.
But
I'm not taking it for granted.
Yeah, but in the context of what you were talking about, Butch, Guyana has not had good opening start, Sean.
No.
And as Butch said, there have been 43 wickets between Seals and Anderson Phillip. And to score 280 and up on that track at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium is going to be a major challenge. Simply because Seals is riled up and Guyana would have to get off to a good start. Nando and Chandler Paul will have to see off that new ball. And that has not happened consistently. If that can happen, then it means that they set the game up for Van Nan, Paul, and Shama Joseph and company to come on the back end. Saying that, the captain Imla is low on form and low on confidence in terms of his batting. Kevlin Anderson is also low on form and low on batting. And Basil called it out right. Kimo Paul has been somebody who has come in and looked very, very, very positive. But at the same time, one of the things which I feel that has been hampering the especially in the first innings, is season those guys are bowling straight at the stumps. I was talking to Captain Leon Johnson before I came onto the program, and I was telling him that even though Kimo Paul and Shama Joseph and those guys bowled and a lot of batsmen played and missed, let's look at how Jason Mohammed got out, how Kimo Paul got Jason Mohammed out. He was bowling accurately at the stump. I don't think that the Guyana seamers bowled straight enough, and I thought that they bowled too long. And Basil, before you came on, I was saying to Felix, over the years when you're playing against Guyana always play a sort of waiting game. They have seamers from one end, and they have spinners which weigh you down. So when you think like you can't get away the seamers, but somebody like Pomal comes and picks up 4 or 5 in less than a time. Because cricket, Basil, I don't have to tell you. If a ball is seaming around, somewhere along the line as a batter, you feel like your number is only a matter of time. Right? So when you go to face the spinner, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about, boy, let me take a chance against the spinner. Let me see what I can get off of the spinner. I thought Guyana went away from that today slightly. And when they went back to their normal tactics, just at the end of the game is when you saw Kamal coming into his own. But it's been a fantastic game, Felix and Sean.
Yeah, well,
you have to be there in the stadium to understand the text of the game. If you're looking at it on television, you'll be like, oh, in fact, I just came out for a program, I asked Basil, and I hear some people telling me that I don't feel like the wicket is too spicy. I'm saying, I've got to learn to bat on something that is spicy. So when you go to South Africa, when you go to New Zealand, and when you go to, how are we going to win test matches if we don't get spicy wickets?
That's right.
And would you recommend
just before you came on, Vernon, Sean asked me the question, and I said we were talking about the bowlers and how the batters are going to approach it. These guys trying to get into that test squad, and you have to show the desire. You have to show the grit, the fight.
Correct.
And just figure out a method.
Correct.
On that pitch quick enough that you will find a way to get runs. There is value in ugly runs.
Correct.
So it's not about looking pretty at the crease. You have to find a way. And I think the batters have the confidence knowing going into the second innings that they are champions. They've been champions the last 3 years. They're on the cusp of achieving something great. So I think that will give them confidence because they've been here before. Now it's about, like what you said, Vernon, it's about the start and the belief. Do they believe that they can do it? And I think they do. You have good players who's out of form. And we all know that sometimes is one shot away from a batter getting back into nick. So it's a tough pitch. It's a tough pitch to get back into nick. But if you do, for example, if Imlach scores a 50, a gritty 50 or 80 to get Harpy Eagles over the line, he will show, he will display and he will show that mental toughness that's required at the highest level.
Yeah.
Not saying that you don't have it.
Let me make a
But
quite
it's just the context of the game.
Yeah. Before this game, Evan Lewis would have played 25 first-class games. But look, and as you rightly said, Basil and Felix, you see how Evan Lewis adjusted himself today?
I was going to add to what Vernon's, not you, Vernon, I mean, Felix just said. You're just a shot away from the, because Lewis has been struggling for the most part, and he came in and he has played an innings that could very well be a match-winning inning in very difficult situation. So our batters could look at that again also as a template to go out there and play. And I agree with also what Felix said, because I've been in some vociferous discussions about this pitch, and I have been saying, no, this is a pitch. As a selector, I want to see you as a you want to play test cricket. This is a situation I want to see you work out. How you're going to find a method quickly to score runs in these conditions, because this is what you're going to reach up in Test cricket. As I pointed out on the program both me and Burnham was just on, I remember back in 2018, South Africa playing India in South Africa on a pitch that was way more juicier than this one. And Bhuvanesh Kumar, the seam bowler, had South Africa reeling, and A.B. de Villiers walked to the wicket. And A.B. de Villiers and Duplessis both made half centuries. And they had to find a method to score runs in that game, because the two openers and Hashim Amla back in the pavilion before you could say nice, right? And boom, this was Boomer when he just started, and Kumar, the ball flying off the pitch and all kinds of stuff. You gotta find a method.
Pitches, you see, Butch, on pitches like these, right? You need to have determination, desire, and you need to have the discipline that, you know what, I don't care if I get hit.
Well,
you're not getting me out.
And what impressed me about Lewis's innings today was that he tempered his aggression. And then when he got to Moti, he showed his white ball skills.
Yeah, because to add to what you just said, Felix, I remember my dad used to talk, he would tell us about, he said at times you go there to bat on a pitch and you gotta decide, you're gonna make a decision. Today I'm gonna get some lashes. I'm gonna hit him a hand, I'm gonna hit him a forearm, hit him in chest and stuff. And those were the days when there wasn't forearm guards, the gloves weren't of great quality. No, these guys got all the guard, all these things. So you gotta make, you know the pitch, a ball gonna jump and what have you. And that's where the mental toughness comes into play. I'm gonna get lashed. I remember watching the same South Africa playing on a difficult pitch, Dean Elgar. I mean, he's a limited batter, but Dean Elgar went out there and battled on a pitch. The ball was flying. He took hits on his shoulder, both shoulders, and made 80-something on a flat pitch that would have been double century.
Very ugly 80-something.
Ugly as hell, right?
But there's value in it.
But it was 80-something serious. On a good day, on a nice pitch, that's 200, right? And that's what we want to see our batters have that ability to do, to go out in difficult conditions and find a method that warrants their technique and do so. Because
Felix,
look, Paul, look what
Felix and Basil. That is what is killing our Caribbean batsmen, Basil and Felix. Our batsmen are not mentally strong. When they go and they see the ball bouncing around, they want the game to be called off.
Yes.
And they're complaining about everything, and the wicket ain't good, and this ain't happening. That's what's happening to them.
I was against that game being called off because I said, y'all got to bat on the wicket. Because you know what's funny? I spoke to one of the Guyana players, and the man said to me, he said, Mr. Butcher, when we played Windward Islands at Sorville, more batters got hit than that Trinidad Leeward Islands game. So what are they complaining about? A lot of people forgot about that game with Guyana Windward Islands, right? And again, Felix, that 100 that I told somebody last week on the program, the 100 that Sunil Lambres made in the tournament is the best 100 I've seen for the tournament. Because of the situation he came against Kimo Paul and Smith bowled some balls to him. I don't know how he survived, right? And he weathered the storm, he battled, and made 100 out of 200 and a little bit. I thought, in my view, the context and what we're talking about, finding a method, he found a way to survive and be able to make 100. And I really applauded him for that 100 against Guyana.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like the fact that we have a pitch here where it's not just batsman friendly.
Exactly.
And you have the spinners dominating. The fact that we've got 4 test match bowlers, 2 on each side, fast bowlers, testing the technique of the batters is ideal preparation for us going into our home series. Now, they could complain how much they want as cricketers in general. Come against Sri Lanka, where are you going to complain? Who's going to listen to you? No one. So it comes back to figure it out, because even if a pitch is spicy, the bowlers still have to put it in the right place. So the bowlers still have to have the necessary skill set. And like quite rightly, Vernon, you said the Anderson Phillips and Jaden Seals, they bowled a lot straighter, almost a 4th stump line rather than a 5th stump line. And when the ball was moving laterally both ways, they kept the batsman in check, because you almost had to play every ball. Now that is a testament of them playing more cricket than the other seamers within the region, because they've had stints in first-class cricket in England. Now, and you can see the benefits of that, where they can literally make a quicker assessment of the conditions and adjust their execution of their skills. Now, I think it's a very, very good match that we have here. And going into the finals day, it's as a spectator and as a cricket fan of West Indies cricket, I think it's the first time in a long time we've had the last game of the season where everything is still riding on the last day.
Yeah.
And I think it might give that little impetus into the revitalization of first-class cricket, because these guys have to earn their money tomorrow.
Yeah, and plus they're looking for a West Indies pick, so you gotta add in that also. On the same pitch, the test matches would be played on in Antigua.
Yeah, I would add this to what Felix said, Sean. Had this game, and I told Vernon this earlier, I don't think if this game was played at ARG or Coolidge, because of the flat nature of those pitches, I would have been so much enthralled by this game. I might have watched here and there, but I spent a lot. Fortunately, I was home today. I spent the whole day watching the game today. Yesterday, when I had time, I watched, because the game was enthralling. There was a battle between bat and ball, not where you're seeing a flat pitch and the bowlers toiling away and the batters having it easy. And this makes, to me, this was very entertaining. And I heard a bunch of people complaining, because, West Indies board is low-hanging fruit, because the first day, the ball, after the fourth ball, a piece of the pitch came out and the ball took off, and they jumped in and the cricket West Indies, as usual, easy low-lying fruit.
And it's a long time I've not seen bowlers consistently bowl bumpers. The Caribbean people are accustomed to that. Look at Django. He got some bumpers.
Exactly. Guyana decided, look, we got to get a wicket and we can go and as a fast bowler, when you're going to see the batsman going to take you on, all the action is on, because there's a chance for you to get in, because we all know the hook shot, depending on the height of the ball and where it's pitched, that you can it's a high risk shot, and he perished.
Yeah.
He set the trap for him and he perished.
All right, let's go for another short pause for business calls, and then we will be right back.
We touch everything. Tables, toys, countertops, door handles, sinks. Mighty Foam's all-purpose cleaner is my secret weapon. Easy and effective with no sticky residue. Mighty Foam all-purpose cleaner. Enjoy all of life's textures. It's here! Igloo Ice Cream Fruit Bars. 4 mouth-watering flavors. Mango, pineapple, strawberry, and soursop. A beautiful combination of real fruit and igloo ice cream. Go old school with fluty popsicle. Classic flavors and refreshing goodness. Available at Igloo outlets and all your favorite shops.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Sundays are for KFC Sunday Special Bucket Deal. Buy a 6 or 9-piece bucket meal and get an extra piece of crispy, juicy chicken. Or go big with a 15 or 20-piece bucket meal and get 2 extra pieces. That's even more of your KFC favorites to share. So gather the family, call your friends, and make it a Sunday feast like no other. Only at KFC, where Sundays are made tastier. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Dave's West Indian Imports is a wholesaler of all types of seafood with their own processing plant. Dave supplies supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, and bars. Place your orders now on telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. With fresh seafood daily, Dave's offers custom cuts of your choice: snapper, trout, banga, gillback, shrimp, crab, and more. Order today. Dave's, Guyana's largest exporter to the USA.
Now Milko has done it again. We've listened to you, and now available nationwide. Another convenient size packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. It's here, the 5 kg or 11 pounds new packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. Now available at your nearest supermarket.
Now Milko, National Milling Company of Guyana.
Yeah, welcome back to the Sean Devers Sports Watch. It's just about 25 minutes getting up to the hour of 9 o'clock. Let's shift the focus now to who impressed you during this truncated tournament. Vernon?
Sean, the application of the batsman, and I covered that game up at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium when the first game, as my colleague Basil Butcher classed it out. I thought it was that 100 was really easily one of the top-notch innings of the tournament. I didn't see the Django double century. I didn't see the Silver century. I didn't see the Nando century, so I really can't show for that. But I'm glad that those guys, when getting an opportunity, scored runs. So that is always important. My thought process, and that's something Felix, who is a technical coach, just like Basil Butcher, that you wanted them to look for, is how batsmen handle the pressure situation, balls bouncing around. It's a Caribbean thing, and I've seen it over and over all the time. As long as grass is on the wicket, guys start shaking in the dressing room. Guys don't want to bat. Guys find all kind of excuses, and I think that happens because when they go to practice, the coaches baby them rather than allow them to go into the nets and say, I'm going to work on my problem. And I find that one of the preparation periods where a lot of our Caribbean batsmen don't go and work on their game. So if you're weak to short bowling, you don't go to Coach Basil Butcher and say, well, Coach, all I want today is to practice how to hook or practice how to defend. You go in and you still want to get thrown down. You still want to get the same normal stuff there. So it all comes down to preparation.
I've actually heard batters telling the coach that this bowler bowling me too fast and too short. Let him stop bowling short.
No, and that is a problem, which is why most of the batsmen are being exposed and you see them complaining because they're hoping they play on so many flat pitches that nobody bowl them any bouncer, and anytime they meet a pitch that has in some juice, they're going to complain. 80 to 90% of the batsmen don't want to bat, and they're going to find all kind of excuses. Now I want to make this final point. Basil will tell me when this was. It was about a couple of years ago when Virat Kohli went to Australia, and the Australians bounced out Virat Kohli. The next time they saw him, right, he went back to India, and he turned up the machine. And he went, and he was working on hooking and defending the ball, going and working there. Our Caribbean batsmen, they don't put in that kind of work. They're just ready-made. They're just contented to go in the nets and look good. So anytime you get any spice, is a problem. I remember a couple of years ago, Brian Lara had come to the training camp. They had a training camp in Antigua. And that team, Craig Batwick got a bumper from Quinton Boatswain in the nets. Shook him up. And I remember they came in different groups. And the group that came in the afternoon session had in Jason Holder and company. And Jason Holder came down and he says, "Oh, who is this quick seamer that just hit the West Indies captain in his helmet?" And the leeward seamers were there, Berridge, company, and nobody said anything. And he repeated it again and he asked, "Who is the seamer?" And Boatswain in his shy self said, "I is the one who bowled the bumper." And when the nets continuing, I remember particular players saying to the coach at the time, "Tell them to tone it down." And that is when I start to look at those guys differently in nets, because I'm saying in nets is where people are supposed to be peppering you. Basil Butcher making his debut in a game from in the net, because he's running in and he bowling fast and he's making everybody skip, and Felix watching that and saying, "What? Why Basil Butcher look good?" That's where you get picked. You don't get picked from in a game, you know. You get picked, especially when a squad is picked already. The selectors decide, well, who's the best man that we're going with to make the 11, right? And I think we've lost that, but Basil, we don't have that intensity anymore. We don't have that competitiveness anymore in the practice sessions.
So, Sir Andy Roberts told me when Desmond Haynes first came into the West Indies team, Desmond Haynes was a dead onside play. He won't play the ball through the offside. And all the fast bowlers, when they was in the nets, Desmond Haynes did not see a sink ball to play on the onside. He was forced every ball. They tell you, you ain't getting nothing on your pads. You're going to play everything through the... And what happened? Desmond Haynes became a very efficient player through the offside, right?
But that's the purpose of nets, to practice your flaws and work on them and become good.
Yes, I would tell you too. Robin Singh, the Trinidadian that played for India. Robin told me when he was playing for India, and they're going to South Africa or Australia, where obviously the pitch is going to bounce and you got a lot of fast bowlers. He said in his preparation, he would have guys bowling to him from 16 yards on a hard surface, bowling short at him. So that would prepare him for Australia or South Africa. So, I mean, those are the things. I mean, Felix is on the ground in terms of working with players. He has more insight as to, from a Guyana perspective, how much these guys work on their games to get better. Because my thing is this, and this is for Felix as a coach, etc. When I see a player this season, and I see him next season, I am expecting to see
some improvement.
Yes.
Even if it's incremental, you don't expect him to be the same or regress.
No, I don't want to see the same player. I mean, it's the same way when guys would go away to England, whether it's the leagues, if they're lucky enough or good enough to get a county contract. When I see them back home, especially if they went and played in some competitive leagues in England, and when they come back home, I'm expecting to see a better player, a more professional player in their approach, etc., etc. And that is the thing we want to keep seeing players continually evolving. You're never arrived, because all the great players are always evolving because they're going to face challenges that they have to be able to meet, and that only comes with being able to meet them by continue to evolve your game and improve it.
You see, very, very good points you made there, Butch. As a coach, you can go through as much simulation, you can do as much training, but these guys just need to play. They just need to play because sometimes the net scenario is almost like a false sense of confidence because there's no umpires, there's no what do you call it? There's no detriment to any decisions you make in the nets. So there is a place for the training. With regards to the preparation, I will say this for the players that I've been involved with and been involved with the Harpy Eagles, I cannot fault their preparation and their training because the guys are committed and they do extra work outside of what's allocated to them. So with regards of their work ethics and how they approach their game, they're dedicated young men and they generally want to do well at the highest level. So what we are faced with, you talk about preparing them for the short ball. There's not many facilities that would replicate that. So that's a challenge. You would have, let's say we have middle practice, the ball sometimes hardly gets above your waist. It doesn't matter how quick you bowl it. So as a coach, you have to get inventive. So sometimes I have used granite to actually replicate some sort of like simulation. And you talk about facing from 16 yards. I actually go shorter than that, where I place the granite about just short of a good length, and I slide the ball off the sidearm off of that. So so there's innovative ways that you can do it, but there has to be a measure. How are you going to measure that if they don't play? You know, so I think these guys need to play more. I don't know. In Guyana, we are hampered by the weather pattern, you know, and that is something that's severely restricting the guys them from actually elevating quicker with their development. Maybe we could find some ways where, like in the leewards, they seem to have better sort of weather patterns certain times of the year. If we could have maybe some bilateral arrangements where these guys can play more, you know. Likewise with the leeward players, they can come to Guyana when the weather is good and they can play on pitches that is turning more. So we have to look at it holistically, but it's for the associations and the regional boards rather than just West Indies cricket to organize these things, because there's a massive gap. Because after this game finishes, most of these players wouldn't play till next year if they don't get a CPL contract or they play Super 50.
It's
So
interesting that you say, it's interesting that you said that, Felix, because Baz will tell you, I just made that point. There are young players in the Leeward Islands franchise setup who've been there now for 2 years and have not played a game for the Leeward Islands. So imagine Basil Butcher has been in a Leeward Islands setup for 2.5 years and has never played a game for the Leeward Islands. I mean, and this is what you guys were like talking about here. So I applauded the Barbados Cricket Association for taking us a second team 11 down to Dominica.
Yeah.
To play against a Dominica academy team. Yes, Kevin Hodge and company play, but what I'm saying, the Barbados young players were able to get, just like what you said, Felix, exposure to play games. So we got to understand, right? There's a human element here. You get 3 games. Basil Butcher is a selector. He picked Springer, Sean, Felix. You are fortunate enough to be in the 13th. But there are 5 guys in Guyana who didn't make that 13th. Next season coming up is a contractual season. a little bit of personal self comes into buying, because you want a contract for next season. Because there are 5 guys in Guyana or 6 guys in Guyana who didn't get a chance to play this season, like you rightly said, Felix, right? How do we create that atmosphere for them now to be able to get a game to play? Because everybody is going to be, when they get a game, is thinking about themselves. I have to score runs, because Cricket West Indies has a category in terms of you qualifying to get whether it be A, B, or C contract going forward. It's a precious situation in terms of what's happening. And if people don't play games, then it's going to be a problem. Now, you can imagine if we didn't have the West Indies Academy or the combined campuses and colleges playing in this first-class competition, a lot of those young players, like the Kevlin Anderson and company and Mackenzie, we might not have seen them.
Yeah.
I think just to add to what both of you guys said, the bilateral thing has to be explored and facilitated more. I think one of the things, like what Barbados did, they took an A team. Similarly, Guyana, an A team. Go to Jamaica, what have you. To Leeward Islands and what have you, to go play games. Even go to Barbados also. I think it's incumbent of the territorial boards to actually slate out a schedule along those lines every year, so it would be a systematic thing that they would be doing. Because I have said this, in my view, Cricket West Indies over the years have taken on some roles that is not their mandate, i.e. in terms of the development of players.
The regional boards is responsible for those things.
Exactly. I also think Cricket West Indies taking on the thing of paying the salaries of territorial players, etc. No, that is irresponsible. These territorial boards need to become self-sufficient professional entities, that they would go out and seek this sponsorship to fund all of those things. So the Cricket West Indies, in my view, has bitten off more than its due, and it's coming home to roost, particularly this season, with this truncated 3-match season. This is a situation where I'm looking back in hindsight, but I said this at the start. I don't know if this was done, but I felt if with this situation with the financial bind, I think what could have been done is all the various territories' governments pitch in to funding their teams going to various locations, so those guys could have gotten in. The season could have been longer. They would have been able to play more matches, because we have to right now think outside the box and come away and move away from that dependency on the ICC money. Secondly, whenever England or India comes to tour West Indies, that's the bonanza. When those two teams don't come, we're in the red. Now, already we're hearing we're going to be $26 million in the red this year. So we have to think outside the box and come up with methods, because somebody asked a question to me, do you think West Indies cricket is dying a slow death? And I can't say no to that, because all the signs point in that direction, right? Unless we change and transform our methods of how we're going about doing things.
I think to add, I want to get back to the original point, but just to add to what you're saying, Butch, I've listened to a number of sport podcasts around the region.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them seem to be discussing more or less the same things over and over.
Mm-hmm.
The question I want to ask yourself as well as Vernon, do you think it's feasible for us as a collective to put forward to the relevant authorities, whether it be CARICOM or the West Indies Board, proposals, and from the various proposals, they can pull out from all the various ones what they think as a combination could work, because a lot is being said, but not much is being done. Like, I might say something, you might say something, but do you think it would be more beneficial to just kind of document that rather than a pointing finger kind of situation where we get all these views, which are valid, because at the end of the day, all of us would like to see West Indies cricket back to a level where they're competing and winning. So to add value to what's happening, do you think that's, whether it's a consortium being set up and then we bump heads together and just make a recommendation?
Hold on there, Basil. Basil, let me answer Felix.
Okay.
Felix.
Yes, sir.
The major issue which is hurting West Indies cricket is that some of the administrators that we have around the game are gatekeepers blocking the progress. They are comfortable in their own position and they do not want to think outside of the box and they don't want to do anything different. They don't want to work hard. But in the meantime, cost of living going up. And so every time Basil asks somebody a question, they tell you, oh, the EFA expensive. Oh, the EFA expensive, the hotel expensive. So if you know those things are expensive, then what you do? You don't set out to go and try and see if you could be able to raise funds. You don't go to the diaspora and try to see if you could be able to get help. How many of the franchises, Felix, have sponsorship? How many of the franchises in the region have sponsorship that takes that burden, as Basil was saying, off of Cricket West Indies? Everybody is looking at Cricket West Indies. So if Cricket West Indies, Chris Derwin call tomorrow and say, listen, we don't have any money to pay the players and the coaching staff for the next 3 months, you know what's going to be happening? We're gonna have a set of crying people around the region, because outside of Barbados, maybe outside of Trinidad and maybe outside of Guyana, right? Some of the other boards might be struggling to be able to make that happen. I just want to say this finally, Felix. We are not short of ideas in the Caribbean. What we are short of is the will to execute.
The implementation of those ideas. I agree with you 100. Right. But in Guyana, this is a good time to approach the Guyana government, because they're giving away money. Well, not giving away. They're funding development.
Tell me where I could go and collect some.
No, they're funding the development of sports teams, and the president is a lover of cricket, especially, and the Charles Ramson, the Minister of Sports, he played cricket, and of course everybody knows what Stephen Jacobs did. He played he played first class. So they would be.
John,
yeah.
Can I just say something? That's all good and well. But with any situation like you just mentioned, if you have an association, a government, anyone that, in your words, giving away money.
No, they're not giving. They're funding developmental systems.
They seem to be having budgets to fund certain sporting disciplines, right? It's not as easy as just get the money and do it. You have to have a strategic plan. You have to have an infrastructure. You have to have a system in place where systematically you can show where.
That's the onus now on the Guyana Cricket Board or the whoever board to do that.
No, I get that. So the point that I was making is, we all know what needs to be done. We all know, we need more funding for the regional board so they can take the stresses or the pressure off a West Indies board, because the model that we've been using over the years is almost outdated.
It's not sustainable.
And times have moved on, and it's putting tremendous pressure on our governing board in the region. Now, this is what I'm talking about. If collectively we can come up with models, because what works in Trinidad might not work in Jamaica. So you would have to hear from the Jamaicans. You would have to hear from the guys in the leewards and the windwards, because they have a collective of islands. So where cricket may be more dominant in some, they might only have one player from an island, and to ask a government from that island to put so much money in when there's only one player might be a bit unfair. So I think we got to put heads together. But to get back to the original point I was going to make about the format, you talk about the truncated format this year. This year, I think, is the first time in a very long time we had 20 different batsmen making hundreds.
2024, I think the most hundreds were made in recent times.
Right. No, not by individual players, by collective players. Right? You had, from the Leewards, you had Graves, Carty, Hamilton. From the Windwards, you had.
I just want to interject quickly, Philip, before we run out of time, on what you were saying. I proposed several years ago that using Guyana as a model, that the cricket heads like you that are in Guyana come up this kind of discussion and come up with a structured program, how it would be sustained, etc., and then present that to the government, etc., and sponsors to fund it, right? Now, if we're able to do...
Can I just, before you go any further, sorry, let me just interject. Before you go any further, they are programs. They are recommendations. And they are...
I am not talking about programs. I am talking about a cricket structure system put in place, right? That would meet the demands that we're looking at, right? And I got pushback from people in Guyana. I don't get the money from.
No, but you see, but this is the point. This is the point I was making. Rather than us taking the I approach, we go as a collective.
Correct.
Rather than the I approach, because you might not like me. So even though I've got the best ideas, you might not listen to me. So, but as a collective, if we could share that information across the boards, maybe there would be more.
Felix.
And that was my point.
Maybe I'm living in the cloud. I don't know.
A collective to come up with, to have a collective come up, and so you're having all these various ideas, and you come up with that program, and then you will take it to the respective sponsors, including the government, to fund it, right? So that's all I'm saying.
But Basil,
and that method, to me,
I can see Vernon laughing, as if to say, look, we live in fantasy.
Basil,
that method has to be replicated throughout all the time.
Let's hear Vernon.
Basil, I know we're gonna run out of time right now. But the next time we come on, right? Felix has just come to the Caribbean, so Felix doesn't understand the political structure and how these people think around here.
I think he has returned long enough to Guyana to do that.
To understand it?
Well, sometimes the way he speaks, it doesn't suggest that he understands.
Cheers for that, Sean.
Well, that's a good wake-up call to him, Sean.
Anyhow, any last remarks?
All I would say, I hope tomorrow's game will come down to the wire.
Yeah.
I would like the game down to the wire. I don't want a game by the second session. It's curtains. I would like that game to go in to the end, all the way down to the wire, so we could be on our edges of our seats.
And finally, Sean, I just want to say, Felix, you're the host, so you'll get the last word. I just want to give major credit to the two umpires who are executing the final.
Yes.
In Dayton Butler and Carl Tuckett. They have done a tremendous job, even when we as broadcasters.
Yes, the question some of the decisions, and when they look at the replay, it was right.
They have been on point, and I really want to give them real credit. Also, Felix Ogis. There have been some young umpires coming out of Antigua and Barbuda who are breaking down the door. Donald Shekels, Felix Ogis, Melissa Lowry. I think that is really, really exciting. And the next time we come on, Sean, please, I want us to talk about development, just as what Butch was talking about. How are we going to develop the cricket? Not this banter. We have to figure out ways as to how do we help Isaiah Tarn? Why isn't Isaiah Tarn not in England playing cricket?
Because he's going to Australia. Carl Hooper's arranged for him to go to Australia.
Well,
praise the Lord. This summer.
At least, but he could have gone to England and gone to Australia.
Next month,
No,
I think he's going to Australia.
He's going next month. No, he's going next month. He's spending the summer in Australia because
perfect.
In Darwin it doesn't get cold, so they play cricket in the Australian winter there.
Perfect. Well,
yes.
So you see what we're talking about, Butch and Felix? That is what we're saying. We got to be able to try to find ways to get our players who will get technical help. I bet you that the next time we see Isaiah Town, we're gonna see a complete new fast bowler.
Well, one of the things, just before we go, one of the things that I have been doing, I've been engaging with an academy in England called the ACE Academy, and they have agreed to facilitate 6 guys from Guyana, depending on their availability and whoever is selected. So there are discussions to get these guys over to England to play in a high performance environment. So there are discussions with that going forward. So hopefully that will come online this year. There's already 4 guys already from Guyana over here. I know there's some guys from Antigua over here on that program as well, and Barbados.
There are 4 guys. There's an exchange program also between Antigua taking place. But we also, the Falcons, we're also talking to a number of schools in England as well. You would know young Matthew Miller is at BD School. That's where Shy Hope and company would have all gone. So there was some England schools that came down to Antigua and Barbados, and so conversations are happening, because I think that the earlier we get our players out to England to begin to understand the professional setup and how the cricket works, I think it will all go well for our game. But finally, again, Sean, Basil, I think our thing is that we're promoting everybody to play test cricket. All of our players are not going to play test cricket. So we need to start to develop some match referees, some umpires, some scorers, some statisticians. We got to start to develop people, because with all of these things coming to the Caribbean, in Guyana, the CPL, first class cricket, they're going to need match referees. They're going to need
cricket is a business now. You could make a living from being involved in cricket. You don't have to be a player.
Those people are part of the infrastructure. The umpires, the scorers, and so on. I mean, just at the club level, you have to have enough umpires to do the matches and so on.
Right, Vernon, just quickly, question for you. The associations that would run these courses for the officials, what sort of structure do they have with regards to, like you said, getting guys up to speed with their accreditation for...
I think that...
Well, I'm a part of the Guyana Scorers and Umpires Association, and we have classes that you play a small fee. Sometimes it's free. But what you see that most, like females, they come and they top it. And then you see just about a couple of them doing the practical work on the field.
Well, I would feel, Felix, that you asked a question. I have a concern in the leagues, because I feel that in order to develop the cricket, you must develop your ground officials, and you must develop your umpires and your scorers.
Yes.
And I don't think that we are executing a proper job in the leagues when it comes in terms of that. Antigua's done an outstanding job in terms of developing some young umpires, and you can see them coming through. But if you were to travel around to Anguilla and to St. Kitts, it's almost the same as the guys who have been umpiring for the last 40, 50 years that are still umpiring today. There's no cadre of young people coming through in that area.
Well, in Guyana, it's different. They've got, now on the elite panel, they've got Banwari and Ryan Passad, and those guys now progress upwards.
So it's an area that we need to talk about, like I said, and I'm glad, Sean, that you get the extra half an hour. It's always a pleasure for us. Like I said, to Felix.
Well, the thing is, where I get the funding from.
Maybe you could Huh?
Sean, you had complained and you said Sean got to get a half hour. So
And I got it.
He
Yes,
got
the
a
extra
half
half.
an hour.
No, yes.
Yeah.
And actually today we going overtime.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
It's a lucky thing we don't have a program coming on after this.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean that we've got to go overtime.
I know that because you have to have sponsors to fill the spot.
Yeah.
Which
Can
Basil?
I just
Which hold on a minute. Which Basil is a problem where we are not addressing. We have the first class championship on right now on YouTube, but there's nothing on radio. So we're not thinking about the elderly people who are all around Guyana.
Blind people.
Or the blind people. We are only catering for a certain set of people.
Well, radio is dead now. Live radio commentary is dead. No, yeah. Only Barbados does some of that on the weekends. They do some of the Air Force for division matches.
They do all the club matches on the radio in Barbados.
50-minute segments.
They have a night. And I in the last couple weekends I've been watching Barbados Premier League cricket matches on YouTube because they stream their matches. So got to see some. I saw Tino Best running.
Well, in Guyana they stream all the inter-county matches and so on.
Yeah. But Guyana is not up to Barbados thing.
No.
Barbados does the club matches. We own some of the inter-county matches. Yeah. But it was fun. It was fun this past weekend to see Tino running in like if he was 20 years younger.
and that's what we want. That's what we want. If you're a fast bowler, you run in like a fast bowler, and it's in his DNA.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think some of our youngsters could show a bit more energy in approaching the crease.
Well, let's wrap up tonight. We've gotten 10 minutes extra free. So on behalf of everybody, one thing.
Can I just say one thing to finish?
One thing.
I'd like to congratulate all the regional batters that's got hundreds. So hopefully they would have created a dilemma for the selection panel to pick them, because we have over 20 guys getting hundreds this year. First class hundreds and double hundreds. So whoever is in the final squad, good luck to them. And
I actually think
tomorrow I would like us to get maybe 7 or 8 wickets down, an hour after tea, Harpy Eagles hit the winning run.
Yeah, and I would add this. You asked about players who impress. I would just want to give a special mention to Mr. Paul. I think Paul's performance puts him in line for selection back into the West Indies team, whether it's the test team or one of the white ball teams. I think Paul, because his problem has been staying on the park because of injuries, and that spell that he bowled
It showed that he's fit.
It showed that he is fit. So I mean, the guy is probably the most talented all-rounder we have in the region.
And he's a genuine all-rounder.
I can argue that because I would just say this: Gautam Gambhir, the India's coach, loves Paul. I remember I was a physio for our master's team, and he was captain. And we were talking, and he asked me what's going on with West Indies cricket. I gave him a little synopsis. And I know the conversation shifted, and then he started talking about Paul. And you could see how he was gushing because he spoke. He said, how many guys around the world?
Well, Bad Light about to stop play.
All right. Paul, I hope
to see Kevin Wickham in the squad.
Kevin Wickham in which squad?
The West Indies squad.
He made all his runs in Jamaica, against Jamaica, on a batting paradise. Anyhow, this is where we gotta go. We'll leave everything. Next week we'll talk about the possible West Indies team, because by then they wouldn't pick the test team. They'll concentrate on the 2020s and one days that's playing in Jamaica. So this is where we go on behalf of Vernon Springer, Felix Walker, and Basil Butcher Jr. I'm Sean Dever saying, if you can be good, then be careful.
power like no other. Mighty Foam dishwashing liquid cuts through grease and grime every time. Lemon zest, green apple, citrus burst, and wild berry. 4 great fragrances specially formulated with super cleaning, grease-fighting power. Mighty Foam dishwashing liquid works hard to get your dishes spotless and is gentle on your hands. Available nationwide.
Igloo sugar-free ice cream. Sugar-free ice cream.
Impossible that you're singing about ice cream without added sugar right now. I mean, how's that going to taste?
It's the best, most delicious I've ever tasted. The premium French vanilla flavor is so rich and velvety. Plus, my gym instructor approves. It's great for my weight loss.
So it's really delicious? Like you aren't kidding me? The children! No added sugar could be healthier for them. And Grandpa Glenn, with his diabetic condition. You mean he could finally enjoy desserts after all these years? I have to go. I have to get this.
Grab Igloo's sugar-free ice cream before she does.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dress lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Finger licking good, yeah, yeah. Got we in the mood for sharing. Come and join the party at KFC. Get a singer sandwich, I take a bite. It's the best flavor, best vibes. Get a bucket with your friends, pass it to the left. And have the best time of your life. Finger licking good, yeah, yeah. Got we in the mood for sharing. Come and join the party at KFC, at KFC.
Dave's West Indian Imports is a wholesaler of all types of seafood with their own processing plant. Dave supplies supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, and bars. Place your orders now on telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. With fresh seafood daily, Dave's offers custom cuts of your choice: snapper, trout, banger, gillback, shrimp, crab, and more. Order today. Dave's, Guyana's largest exporter to the USA.
Surprise your family today with a nice vanilla-flavored cake made with Maid Marian cake flour. It's perfect for the birthday, anniversary, special occasion, or just celebrating the joy of having your family together. So get a pack or two of Maid Marian cake flour to make that moist, fluffy, vanilla-flavored